Life looks fine from the outside, but somewhere along the way, good enough stopped feeling good enough. You can't explain it. You feel guilty even saying it. I know because I've been there. And what I discovered along the way changed everything. So if you're a midlife mama and you're tired of pretending that everything is fine, this video is for you. I clearly remember the night I stopped pretending that everything was fine. Brady and I were on a date night, which were getting more frequent because one by one our girls had left home and we were about to be or were empty nesters. I can't exactly remember the timing. And he was excited about all the free time we had, all the things we could do. And yes, that was exciting, but it was just bubbling up in me. I started crying and I couldn't quite explain to him what was missing. I had been in full mom mode for so many years, and now that I didn't have that purpose, I didn't want to just pour it into helping him build our business. I wanted something that was mine, that lit me up. I knew I had gifts to share, but I had no idea what I was going to do with that. I'd been the stereotypical backstage mom. Two of my girls were dancers and one was a singer. So I had been helping them have that fun little high school experience. What I hadn't done was figured out what I wanted to fill my time with now that my calendar was empty. And I almost felt guilty saying it because I was so excited for our girls to leave and go chase their college dreams. Brady and I were in a good place, but I still just knew that something felt missing. And I think that's common among us midlife moms. Please tell me that you felt the same. Yes, our hormones are going crazy at the same time. So I think that crying certainly is added from that. But also, it's just like we don't know what comes next. And it's hard to even know what we want. We've spent so much time taking care of everybody else, doing the career, taking care of the house, raising the kids, that we didn't have the luxury of sitting back and thinking, now what do I want? What do I actually want? That was just the moment that it was a breaking point. I had to admit it before I could fix it. I think as midlife moms, we have gotten out of the practice of dreaming, of thinking about what we want, who we want to be. We go through this second kind of adolescence as our hormones go the opposite direction. But I think just like when we were teenagers, we have this unique opportunity to figure out who we are and what we want to do with the rest of our lives. I think as Gen X girls, we were given the subtle message that good girls don't rock the boat. Good girls aren't high maintenance. Good girls aren't too needy. So when this restlessness, dissatisfaction starts to bubble up, we feel like we're being selfish if we put words to it. We feel like we're being ungrateful. I know that's how I felt. And once I finally admitted to Brady that I just was feeling this need for change, I couldn't put my finger on exactly what that looked like. But when I finally admitted it, then I was able to start working through it. Maybe if you're feeling this, God's calling you to the next step. You've got to feel that pain of staying the same before you're ever ready to make some changes. And I could have easily just filled my calendar with more busyness, volunteered at the church, stayed busier at home, but I knew I wanted more. And I wanted to think about what comes next in the 10 years. I couldn't go on vacation every week. I couldn't bother my adult kids and let them fill me up. I had to figure out what I wanted. And so do you. You have to be curious. Be curious about what lights you up. Be curious about what sounds fun. Get curious about all the experiences you've collected, all the skills and talents that you've collected along the way. How can they add up to using them for something new and exciting? When was the last time that you felt excited or felt like you were really filling your purpose? What were you doing at that moment? How can you add more of that into your life now? When you're curious and start asking those questions, at first it's very uncomfortable. For me, there was a lot of crying involved, but then you can start getting clear about what you want to come next. Now, looking back, one of the times that I knew I really felt like I was living out my purpose was when I was a church youth director when my girls were going through the program. I loved speaking every week, teaching the youth group how to use faith in their everyday lives. I loved planning activities that were fun, and I loved showing them the gifts I saw in them and how they could use them. But I knew I didn't want to go right back into that because, frankly, that was the most exhausting job I have ever had, thanks to mission trips and lock ins and church camp. But I wanted to use that in some way. Little by little, that has led me here to having a YouTube channel and being a midlife coach. I also knew I wanted more friends in my life. I wanted a more of a social life because all that kind of got put on the back burner when my girls were going through high school. My schedule was their schedule, and I needed to cultivate new friends and learn how to make new friends so that my social life was a little more exciting. When you look back over your life, it might not be a big job that was really lighting you up. It could have been an extracurricular activity you did in high school that was super fun that somehow you let go by the wayside, or some part of your job that was really fun and you wish you got to do more of it, or a volunteer activity where you really felt needed and felt like you were meant to be there. All of those are little clues of things that you might want to experiment and add to your life in the coming months. I don't believe God wastes any of our gifts and talents or any hard things we've been through, the lessons we've learned. And that restlessness that comes in midlife is we have this wisdom, we have these skills that we're not sure what to do with. I want you to get curious of how you can use them. How can you put those into practice to get your life more exciting? This is not the time to retire and just sit on the couch watching Netflix. This is an exciting time. You have time to figure out what the next 20 years are going to look like. And before you say, this seems a little selfish, I should be taking care of other things, I want you to think back to when we were in elementary school, even high school. What was that important piece of paper that we had to get from our mom that allowed us to go on that field trip, that allowed us to be in that extracurricular activity that we loved? It was a permission slip. That permission slip was the key to fun and adventure. Now, today, I want you to give yourself that permission slip. Write out that you give yourself permission to dream again without thinking about how it affects anyone else. Permission to get curious about what you want and who you want to be when you grow up. Permission to try new things, especially when they're scary. And then this important one, you have to give yourself permission to be bad at things that you try, to suck at them. I will for sure tell you that when I first started playing pickleball, I was always the worst one on the court. But luckily, I didn't stay there. I liked it enough to practice and get better. Not the best one on the court yet, but I'm certainly not the worst. And no one starts anything new at the pro level. You're always a beginner. So it's okay to be bad at something. Just see and experiment if it's something you like enough to practice and get better at. Give yourself permission to chase joy. Think about what lights you up, what sounds fun. Chase after it. You have time, but you've got to stop procrastinating and putting off that future joy, waiting for someone else to give you permission. You get to write the permission slip yourself. Now that you've admitted life isn't fine, are you ready to change it? Today's the day you write your permission slip. And next, we'll talk about where we go from there.